what's up, everybody? This is the Meaningful Nonsense Podcast, and I'm back for episode number 2 in 1 week. I'm your host, KP, or Kadarius, whichever you want to call me. See, it was supposed to go the other way around because it kind of rhymes, so I always used to come on with, it's your boy, Kadarius, or KP, or whatever you want to call me. You know, it's a little rap that, the one time in my life I can actually rhyme. But anyways, I wanted to pop on here today to talk about the Manosphere and Red Pill and all that alpha male shit that the Godfather, Kevin Samuels, kind of promoted. Now, I will say, I do not support a lot of what's going on, and I do support a lot of the stuff that's going on in the Manosphere. Like, I understand that men need to do better. I've been doing that on my own. I've seen that you can't do certain things unless you progress in certain ways in your life. First thing is that it's income. I worked construction most of my life, and I moved out here to California, and I stopped doing that for a little bit because it's kind of difficult to get into that field in a new state when you don't really know nobody, because construction is a lot of the people you know, not just going out and applying for things. So with that being said, I fell into this Manosphere stuff and Red Pill stuff during COVID, and I was all gun ho. I was about to be first in line to be an incel. I was like, man, I ain't fuck with these bitches on this slanging dick. That's how it was at first. But you can't always get your information from one source. You gotta kind of be malleable in that. You gotta find different avenues to curate an actual original thought, and not a lot of people do that. People kind of run with what's been said, and that's it becomes their identity, one, and two, it becomes their way of thinking. I don't do that. I hear a bunch of different information from a bunch of different people. I curate the information that I get, and I formulate my own train of thought for that. And I believe that a lot of the stuff that is told from the Tates and Poor Man Podcast and the Fresh and Fits and Kevin Samuels when he was alive, I feel like a lot of the things that they used to say about men needing to improve themselves, I support it, man, because I needed to do those same things for myself. You know what I mean? I was kind of codependent, you know what I mean, and stuff like that, and I had to kind of shake myself, shake back and then get myself up out of that mode, and I did that. Now, now that I had shook myself out of that mind frame and codependency and stuff like that, I went and I was like, I gotta secure the bag. I gotta be making this, that, and the third amount of money in order to be able to function in this world of dating and finding someone. I seen it writing on the wall. You ain't gonna get it if you making 50, 60 grand, because you're just not even gonna be looked at. So I was like, hey, I gotta fix that. So I'm gonna come out here and I'm gonna figure out a way to make more money. And I figured it out. Now I'm up there. I ain't gonna get into the details of how much money I make, but I'm up there. You know what I mean? And then the second thing, bro, y'all can see from my face, I ain't the skinny nigga, but I also ain't the fat nigga. You know what I mean? Everything under here is solid, but I can improve, and I'm going to improve. I've been in the gym. I'm being more consistent in doing that, and everything. I need to shave my head, I need to be better at taking care of my facial part. But I've been in the gym, I've been doing my thing, and I'm getting better at that. But that was the mess. I believe that's how the message should have been taken. When you go and watch these dudes like Fresh and Fit, Kevin Samuels, mediocre tutorials and reviews and all that stuff, and Poor Man Podcast, that's how I believe a lot of men should have took that. We need to improve ourselves in order to get ourselves to a point where women will start looking at us. That's how I always seen it, because one, I was raised by a bunch of OGs. I used to see my dad, although my dad had some bad influences and did some things that I ain't gonna get into. I learned from the OGs that you gotta be something to have someone see something. And I don't know how I'm gonna switch that up and that becomes like a saying, but you gotta be something for people to see something. And I had to go back to that because I lost that growing up. I lost that whole drive to be something for someone to, want to be around. And I got codependent, you know what I mean? I was like, shit, I'm making money. My ex is making money. You know what I mean? I was kind of being very codependent. I'm not the greatest. I admit, I wasn't the greatest boyfriend. She says I'm a good boyfriend and stuff like that. I wasn't the greatest. I wouldn't want to be with me at that point in time. I think now I've changed and improved myself, but so going back to the Manosphere and red pill and everything, the stuff I believe in is that if you are a man and you out here and you trying to date, you got to be something. You got to make some type of money. You got to be in some type of shape. You got to look some type of way, and you got you got to have something about yourself. I don't believe a lot of times. I used to believe a lot of the time that women kind of go for the dudes that are tall. Yeah, some of them do. There's a lot of them do. And when you don't have the height, you gotta make up for it in other ways. And that's being somebody that's driven, being somebody that's got progressing in your life, and all that other stuff. You got to do that. But at the same time, on the other side of things, you have to also, as a man, you got to be able to vet, because a lot of dudes that go out here like, oh, these hoes is gold diggers. Nah, this hypergamy, bro. It's always been that way. It's always going to be that way. Women are going to go look out for the best. They're going to look for the best men to provide them with security in all aspects. And that security word is a blanket statement. It covers securities and stability in a bunch of different areas. And I'm not gonna go deep into that. But I started to learn that shit over time, and I'm kind of molding myself into being better. A lot of that stuff came from my pops too, and this, that, and the third. And the word, you got people like Fresh and Fit, where they kind of promote the Playboy lifestyle of everything, They promote the multiple women, the flashiest cars, and all other stuff. I'm not that. I read too much, don't care about flashy things. I really don't care about flashy cars and stuff like that. Now, because I don't believe into that stuff, I put myself at a detriment. I think that's the right word, maybe. But I put myself at a detriment because a lot of the time, a lot of women are looking for that. But then again, those might not be the right women for me, and I should reevaluate the women that I attract by the things that I want in my life and stuff like that. And I'm only speaking for men. I'm not speaking for the women. I'm not about to go on and tell women what they need to be looking for and all that other shit and whatever. But I'm just speaking from me as a man. This is pretty much an anecdotal experience in this world. But in this time of me growing and making more money and being a better man and getting out here working out and shit like that and just doing this improvement stuff, you know, I can see where dudes kind of look at females like, bro, y'all only not looking at us for money. And I cannot not agree with some of that stuff. You know what I mean? Although some of these platforms promote like a playboy lifestyle of everything, fuck multiple women, do this, that, and the third, drive the fanciest car, make the most amount of money, and all the other stuff. I understand that. That is a part of life that a lot of people want, but it's not what everybody wants. So you gotta fit into your niche, and you gotta build yourself up to be the highest prospect in your niche. You can't try to be the dude who drive the fanciest cars and all this other stuff if that's not you. Or you can't be trying to live a playboy life if that's not you. And I know I ain't that person. I don't like fucking trying to have sex with multiple women and all that other stuff. I like stability. And consistency. You know what I mean? Like that. I could sit here and talk to you like, man, I want to do this, do that. I want to smash this, smash that. But that's not who I am. I like stability. I like consistency. And I'm going to seek that in my next partner. And you have to pick who you get your information from, because a lot of these dudes out here are charlatans. You know, I remember back in the day, I used to watch a dude named like Mr. Organic. He used to talk all this pimp shit. Like this nigga talk about Minnesota. I'm from Minnesota. So he used to talk all this shit like, I used to do this, I'm doing this and that and another, doing this, that, and the third. And I'm be looking like, man, I ain't never heard of you. Like, I ain't been back home to Minnesota in a while, but I know people who know people who know people, and people don't know you. And he used to talk this bravado, and people used to love that shit. But it was all that playboy lifestyle, and and it was a charlatan. He had this charlatan trick. I think I'm using the wrong word for that, but he playing games and stuff like that. And I can't associate myself, or I can't try to get the information I need to improve myself from him, because he doesn't live the life that I want to live. So you got to find the people who kind of shows you that, and you got that. You can find that and stuff. People like mediocre tutorials and reviews, Poor Man Podcast, Jordan Peters, Jordan, dude from Very Emotional Dude, stuff like that. You can find that type of information, or more like the Nuclear Family and stuff like that, from them guys. So I moved over to there. Although I still watch a little bit of Fresh and Fit and stuff like, Fresh and Fit and all those kind of like radical guys that kind of want to promote the playboy lifestyle of it. Because it's two sides to it. You can have either one of them, but there's information out there for whatever type of life you want to live, as far as like dating, finding someone and stuff like that. So I found myself into more of the reserved, family-oriented, nuclear family and stuff like that. So I move over to there, and now you gotta take and decipher the information that you begin with. And I agree with most of the stuff coming from those guys, because like me as a guy out here dating, and now that I know now that I am making pretty decent pretty decent money that put me up in this type of plateau, and now I become very selective, and I'm vetting, and I'm looking for red flags and stuff like that, and I have to kind of look at everything with, what's the saying, like rose-colored glasses or something like that, and I have to look at things for what they are, kind of decipher what is for me and what's not, and not everything is for me. And I noticed in this process, like, things that men in this playboy lifestyle, they want to fuck all these females and shit, and the guys who are more family oriented are dealing with the same stuff. We have a bunch of women who want to go ride the cock carousel. See, now we're gonna get into the area where it ain't gonna sound good, but it's factual shit. Hold on a second. Now there's fireworks going off in the background because it's almost near 4th of July. I hear a lot of popping and shit getting kind of close to the crib. I might have to grab a blicky, slide up out here. I don't know what's going on, but anyways. But those two, there are probably multiple facets to this, world. But I'm just talking about the two that I kind of was on the fence about. But I noticed that we were all having the same problem. And the thing that I don't believe that a lot of women who are looking for men to settle down with, and men who are looking for women to settle down with, one of the things that we're kind of missing each other is that you have a lot of women who want to have lived all this life. They want to have lived all this life and then come and settle down and find someone to make a family with. And men are like, I don't want somebody who has lived all this life and done all these things and then want to settle down. I want to find somebody who hasn't done that and settle down with that person. And you have the women who have lived all this life looking at us like, no, we're higher value because we have experienced more. And men are like, yeah, you experienced it, but we don't want any parts of all that. Because you've accumulated baggage, you accumulated scar tissue mentally, you accumulated all these things that is not conducive to having a relationship with longevity, because now you become set in your ways, and there's no I don't even think this is a word, but malleability. There's no there's no forming to this thing to where we could work together. But where someone who doesn't have all the experience or haven't rode the cock carousel and all this other stuff are more malleable, and you can kind of, both of you guys can kind of mold each other to kind of be comparable to each other, where you can't have that with somebody who already lived life and did all these things. And I remember talking to a friend before, and she was talking about how she's done all these things and how she wants somebody at this point in life. And I'm like, but most dudes are gonna look at you like, you've done everything, you've had all the fun, you've been on all the trips. What can I share or show you that you haven't done? I can't. I'm gonna be constantly living to try to outdo what you have already experienced. Nobody's gonna want that. No dude's gonna want that. No dude's gonna try to accomplish that. There's gonna be some dudes that like to think that they can do that. Those are gonna be the simps. Those are gonna be the guys that none of these women are gonna want, because they're gonna be trying to do all these things out the gate to get you to like them, to think, because they think that those things are going to get you to commit, and it's not going to happen. And for the guys who don't want somebody who's done all these things, we're looking for somebody who are kind of haven't experienced all these things, but want to experience all these things, but kind of want to have a partner to go through all these things with, trips, new experiences, wines, drinks, foods, whatever it is. We want to experience those things. The guys are kind of like where I'm at. We kind of want to experience those things with you, and this is for the the guys that are more family oriented and not trying to live this playboy life. And it's super wild because there's not a lot of that. There's not a lot of females out here who, or women, or whatever you gotta call people these days. There's not a lot of that out here because there's women who have been on yachts, who've been to all the beaches, all the resorts, and all this other stuff. And it's hard for us average guys to keep up with that because it's the guys who are at the upper echelon of income and accessibility to things, who are giving these women these experiences. And some of these women are doing those things themselves. It's not a lot. Let's be honest, it's not a lot of them because we know that not everybody can afford that. Whether you like it or not, whether you got OnlyFans or working a good job, not everybody can just be out here traveling, having all these experiences without someone outside of there fucking funding it, or just that you spend all your money on having these experiences. Now, I may be wrong, and I'm leaving a whole bunch of stuff out of this. I'm leaving a whole bunch of stuff out of this, and I'm kind of glad that I'm doing that because then it gives people room to argue what I say. But back to the question, back to what I was talking about. If you've already experienced these things, I don't have nothing I can show you or impress you or get you to feel some type of way about me because you've already done everything. So how can I show you anything new? And that's for the chicks that are older, who have done everything, who have written the cock carousel. The guys who come in and actually want something, when you become ready to settle down, have got to live up to all the experiences previously that you've had, all the guys you have slept with, all the experiences, the trips you have been on, all the restaurants you have eaten, all the gifts that you have been bought. We have to now live up to a life that, one, we don't want to, I'm not gonna say we don't want to provide, but we can provide in a way, but can't really meet the extent of that because the guys that you may have been messing with before, you don't have access to those guys now, but your bar is still up there. And now the normal dude or the guy who is above average, can't really meet this upper echelon level of dude, but he can meet this, he can't meet this. But you've been having all these experiences and he can give you these experiences, and we become in this circle of I'm trying to impress you, or I'm trying to get you to like me, but there are dudes that are out there that can provide you more experiences and stuff like that. And then I'm skimming the top of everything. I'm not going in depth. That's for people to kind of have in the comment section, and I can kind of reply to those things. I'm skimming across the top. I'm leaving a bunch of shit out, whatnot. But now, going back to the focus of me, I kind of look at things like I've made all these improvements on myself, and now I want to go out here and date. I'm not really looking for these one night flings, just slanging dick all over the place. I'm not really looking for any of that. I kind of more like the consistency in relationships and stuff like that. So now I got to do the vetting of those things. And it's hard vetting these people because a lot of these people, a lot of these women, I'm going to say women because I'm ultimately interested in women right now. But it's hard to vet who could potentially be a good partner. And I'm a steal something from a video I had seen before, where the reason why it's so hard to find these people because the good girls are standing too close to the hoes. You know what I mean? And it's hard to decipher which ones are the good girls because they all gonna seem like they're the good girls, but which ones are actually the good girls who are actually looking for something and not really out here trying to be on no, continuous experience curator, I guess you could say. That's why I call a lot of this stuff is a lot of women are out here curating experiences. It sounds so bad, but they're out here getting experiences from guys who can provide that, and that's all a lot of the time what some of these girls are looking for. This, that, and the third. Now, I think I'm gonna split this podcast up into two because there's a lot of stuff I want to say, and I also kind of want to have more of a clear mind to say those things. But just kind of going back to what I was talking about, just about me. What I'm looking for is hard to find because a lot of the time I'm not the guy that a lot of these girls will put as a guy who makes good money, who's driven, and all the other stuff, because there's other circumstances that I have that don't really I don't know, that's not really appetizing. Like, one, I'm a dad. 2, I'm 5'9". 3, I do make good money. 4, I'm not really looking for the life of like luxury. I don't really care too much about the fancy shit. I'm pretty reserved. I'm pretty private. I'm not trying to be in everybody's parties. I'm also not trying to be in everybody's face. And a lot of the women are trying to do that. So I can't really sit here and say that it's going to be easy for me to find these things because it's not. So what I have to do is sift through all these different women and date all these different women and whatnot and try to find, who fits me better. So yeah, that's where I'm at on that whole thing, Manosphere and all of this stuff, and figuring out this stuff and that, this and that. And yeah, I'm gonna make this a 2-part thing because right now I'm kind of like running out of my thoughts on this situation or on this topic, and I kind of want to take a break and then come back and revisit this at a later date, maybe tomorrow, the day after tomorrow. But kind of have more, or maybe I start throwing up some statistics and stuff like that, because we men, we work off logic, facts, and numbers, you know what I mean, like that. But yeah, I'm a break out of here. I'm gonna chop this up, do some editing, and I'm gonna get ready for the next one. And I'm gonna rewatch this so I can start off where I left off, and then I'm gonna do even more of a deep dive into this whole Manosphere, Manosphere red pill, and I'm also gonna touch on Passport Bros and the benefits and non-benefits of that, the pros and cons. But yeah, this has been the Meaningful Nonsense podcast. I'll see you guys soon because I'm gonna be dropping a part 2, and I'll check you guys out later. Good fudging night.